not used to this group being so quiet. I mean, just kind of. You are. I'm so proud of all of you. It's good to see you. Good morning. Let's take a deep breath. Breathe in and relax. We're breathing in life and love, harmony, unity. Settle into your chairs, letting the chair support you. Letting whatever's flowing through your mind, just let it go with the flow. And as you're slowing your breathing, your heart rate will relax and slow down. And listen to your body. What is your body telling you this morning? Is it peaceful? Is it stressed? Are you in pain? Uncomfortable? We have the power to bless our bodies, to thank it for carrying us through, even when we neglect and abuse it. It's always working. Working towards life and vibrancy, health and wholeness. Just let yourself be still. Be still and know that I am God. From Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. And God is the all good, unconditional love. The force that moves in and through and as all things, including us. There is nowhere that God is not. God is in all circumstances. God lives and breathes in our joy and our pain, our sorrow, our grief, our laughter, our trials, our tribulations, our resolutions. God is divine mind, is all wisdom, all intelligence. Creator of all things, the love that holds and bears all things. God is pure magnificence. We are unique, divine expressions As the Quakers say, the hands and feet of God. Expressing that goodness, that love here in this physical realm. Endowed with all the powers of the divine. And so we breathe in and relax, knowing that all is good and all is God and all is well. No matter what we are standing in right now, God is present. Working through us, holding us, speaking to us and through us. Everything that is before us is for us. So from this place of peace and assuredness, we now sing our centering song, Spirit's Prayer. Reading from the book entitled Effectual Prayer by Francis W. Fawkes. Oops, wrong glasses. Oh, there is a book in my hand. Okay. This is from chapter 1. Many students of truth, when turning from the old manner of praying and seeking a greater knowledge of true prayer, make a great problem of entering the silence. Indeed, the silence does seem a problem to those of us who have never assumed control of our thoughts, who have never learned the art of relaxation, of concentration, of meditation, of being still and listening within. These are all steps that are taken to enter the silence where God dwells and where we hear the, quote, still small voice, end quote, with its words of wisdom and love, where we contact the gifts that through eternity have been waiting for us to become still enough and receptive enough to receive them. The human race, at least that part of it which prays to God, has so long spent all the time allotted to prayer in beseeching a faraway God for material desires. Prayers have often been to a God who is nearsighted and perhaps a little deaf, immovable on his throne in a heaven, dealing out evil as well as good, and many times favoring the sinner in preference to the saint. People have talked at God. They have talked about God. In fact, they have done all the talking, never giving the omniscient one a chance to speak back to them, to assure them of his ability and willingness to give them even more than they ask. The psalmist said, I will hear what God Jehovah will speak. We have the proof of his listening for and to God in the wonderful messages of the Psalms. The singing of those God-given songs restored to the singer's soul, and they have led many other hungry, homesick souls back to the green pastures and beside the still waters to, quote, dwell in the house of Jehovah forever, end quote. To the psalmist listening to Jehovah, God gave a long life full of rich living, a life physically rich, mentally rich. The experience of one human being can be the experience of all who are willing to pay the price. The price of such experiences as David's and Solomon's is to live the Christ life, one step in which is to learn to pray the prayer of faith that availeth much in its working. This prayer we do not pray because we ask amiss. We desire the gifts more than we desire the giver, with a capital G. We ask for things more often than we ask for a knowledge of the law and the strength and power to use it right. We have only to review some of our past prayers and their results, or even examine some of the prayers we are saying today to realize that this is true. All prayers are answered by the Father. Whenever a prayer remains unanswered in the manifest realm, we can be sure that somewhere there is a closed door between us and the giver. For every prayer of every soul represents some need that, in its purest form, God is seeking to push forth into the manifest world. This loving one is ever seeking to manifest himself through his children as health, joy, beauty, and wealth. We are the only means he has of coming into visible expression. And if each of us abandon ourselves fully to his will, the world would be again a Garden of Eden where we could walk and talk with God in sweet communion.
It's easy. It's good to see you guys.
Good to see you. Good to see you up front.
Happy to be here. So today we're going to hear about abundance. And this is from Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker, 365 Days of Richer Living. Prosperity is the presence of God as ease. It is the ability to do whatever needs to be done at the instant of time that it needs to be done. We must realize that prosperity is a larger term than just money. Money is the symbol of exchange of ideas in mind, and as such, it is good and necessary. Numberless people demonstrate prosperity without using money. They always have what they need and want at the time that they need and want it. Most families have a poor relation, someone who has never worked in his life but has always managed to get along comfortably. Such people are clear in their thought regarding prosperity, but are not clear regarding money. So they demonstrate ease and freedom without actual money in their hands. We want to make a complete demonstration and have both money and freedom. And this can be accomplished by scientific prayer, which is the disciplining of consciousness. There is only one power, the power of God. This power is the only power at work in my affairs, and it is always working for increase. I am now under the law of addition and multiplication. Never again will the law of subtraction and division operate in me. I fill my mind with God's ideas of abundance. And nothing can prevent their full demonstration in my affairs. There is no evil to stop this from taking place, as God is all there is in my world. I praise prosperity. I talk prosperity. I love prosperity, for God is my prosperity. I accept it with joy, use it with wisdom, and release it again into my world with love. My world is easy, and increased good is appearing. So here's our affirmation. Increased abundance is mine today and every day. Increased abundance is mine today and every day. Increased abundance is mine today and every day.
So I am, of late, quite the gardener. I was always used to house plants and love them and have a green thumb. I got plants everywhere, and I always think there's room for just one more plant. In another corner, I'm propagating a plant, but in the last few months, though, I have been outside in the mornings, really just enjoying the sunshine and communing with God, and sometimes it's my meditation time, sometimes it's my prayer time. And in the midst of weeding in the grass and in the flower beds, something's been happening. And so it's not just digging weeds out of the ground. It always feels like, especially lately, that something else is happening within me. So it never ceases to amaze me that even though I weed often, there's always more. And even when I think I've gotten them all, I can turn around or look 5 inches to the left or the right, and I find another one waiting for me. And some of them are easy to dig up. Some of them take a little bit more digging down to actually get at the root of the weed and bring it up, because you got to get the root or it'll spring back up before you get in the house, it seems. And yet, maybe it's because I am not just out there gardening and doing some physical work, all of which I love, and gardening muscles are different from other muscles in the body. So I'm becoming well acquainted with those gardening muscles, and they scream quite loudly sometimes. But as I'm weeding, I'm not cursing the weeds, because there could be that. I'm not upset that I found another one 5 inches away, or one I didn't even recognize, because I can be looking at one and it's right, the other one is right there, and I don't see it because I'm focused on the one and digging it up, and then I switch my focus just a centimeter and I see the other one, or I didn't recognize it when I looked at it. So, of course, I see a spiritual lesson in everything. The weeds, for me, are starting to represent the stuff we go through, the stuff we have to let go of. So here in this month of February, we're talking about release and renunciation, those powers, one of the 12 powers, one of our divine 12 powers. The ability to speak out of existence what we don't want to have in our lives anymore. The ability to release what it is we no longer want to experience. To let go of the things, the baggage we have, the beliefs that we have that no longer serve us, the patterns that we repeat without thinking sometimes. Those weeds represent those things for me as I'm digging up and making sure that I'm getting down clear under the root and picking it up, because I don't want to come back to this weed again. And so I could just pick up what's on the surface and think I've done a good job. And how many times do we do that? We work on something and we've got some issue, but we don't want to go deeply into it, so we just kind of scratch the surface and we do a little bit of work on something, even though we know at the time that there's more to do. But we don't want to go there, maybe just yet or ever. There's some things I've looked at in my life and decided, all right, yeah, I need to get rid of that, but I don't want to do all the hard work. So how about if I do a little bit of work, but I call it done? Because I don't mind being in denial every once in a while, especially when those deeper issues start to come up and you know that there's either a pattern or an ingrained belief that we need to work on. So we are invited always, when things come up in our lives, to go deep. Everything is spiritual. Everything is spiritual, because we are spiritual. And we're living in a world that is spirit in form. And so everything has and is spirit. And our relationship with that world and with ourselves is spiritual. And so everything that we deal with, everything that comes up in our lives has a spiritual solution. Everything. Which sometimes is good news, and other days we're like, okay. Didn't want to have to do that. Didn't want to have to do that. Or I don't want to do it right now. Or not today. And then you get to tomorrow, and then you say, oh, not today either. And we just push it along, push it along. That's when we're picking up the surface of the weed, but not digging down into the root. Not digging into the root. And having to do that work. Because there are some days I've got my little tool, and I'm pushing down. It may take both hands to get it down far enough to get underneath that root and pluck it up. And sometimes I still get down there, and I still have to get my hands in the dirt and wrestle with that thing to get it up out of the ground. And then I'm surprised at how far down that root went and how much work it took to wrest it out of the ground. Because here I am, 2 arms, 2 legs, got all this musculature, I'm so much bigger than the weed, and yet I'm fighting with the weed to get it out of the ground. A little plant held by some dirt, and the weed is winning sometimes. The weed is winning. And our problems are like that, where sometimes it looks like the problem is going to outdo us. And it feels like that. It feels big, and it feels like it's too deep in order to pluck it up and out so we can discard it. And all of us have something like that, or a group of somethings like that, all the time. There's always something else to work on. Like we talked about before, we are creators, and we are always creating. And if we're always creating and growing, then there's always something showing up to work on, if we care to. Or we can have a lawn full of weeds, and you can ignore them. And you can see the pretty little yellow flowers that come up. And you can admire them just like that. And you can do that if you want. How many lawns do you walk by or drive by and see the weeds? And you know it for what it is. How many times has that been our lawn, our life, where the weeds are just showing up, showing up, showing up. And we're doing this, or we're walking around with blinders. I don't see the weeds, I don't see the weeds, I don't see the weeds. Or you want to call it pretty because there's pretty little yellow flowers, and it's all okay until we get tired of the weeds. Until you look at it and you say, I don't want that. Tired of looking at them, tired of saying it's pretty, tired of saying it's okay, tired of ignoring it, tired of ignoring what the weeds are making us feel on a regular basis. And then prepare ourselves to do the work. And so most of the work, like the reading, was about getting still, going into the silence, letting ourselves get quiet enough that we can hear how to dig the weeds up. Or being able to hear and recognize that it's pointing us to a weed we've been ignoring, or simply do not see. Do not see. Like the weed that's a centimeter from the other one that you just plucked up, but you don't see the other one a centimeter away. And sometimes all you have to do is shift your perspective a little bit, get in the light a little bit, and then you go, oh, weed. All right, missed that one. I just worked this area. How many times have we said, why am I doing this again? Why am I going through this again? Why is this showing up again in my life? Why? I don't want to do this. Or I've done it already, thought I was done with that. I've been there many times, thought I was done with that. But again, if we're growing, if our eyes are open, if we're in the silence enough, then things become known to us. We get shifted in perspective, and suddenly we can see what needs to be plucked up and out and discarded from our lives. The continual weeding. It's nice to be in a place now when I'm actually in my yard and I'm weeding and I'm not mad at the weeds. And just pluck it up and work. And if it requires more work than I thought it did when I first started digging down, I do the work. And I just keep moving. Go get another weed. Enjoy this grass, go get another weed. Enjoy these other flowers, up, that's a weed, dig it up. Let it go. And just keep moving. Just keep living. Just keep enjoying all the beautiful things that are not weeds all around the weeds at the same time. And somehow for me, that makes plucking the weeds up easier. Because I notice all of the beauty around the weeds. And there's far more beauty than there are weeds. Now in my life. I couldn't always say that. Once I was the garden full of weeds. And I felt it deeply. That's that rough, grainy stone in that song. And then we let the rivers, the water of spirit, wash over us and smooth out those rough edges. That's the process of the weeding. To let God work on us, let Spirit work on us, sit in the silence enough that we get smoothed out. That the weeds get easier to dig up. Or we dig them up with a smile on our face or peaceful in our hearts. Something else to work on, something else to release. Instead of cursing it, we say, I can gain more freedom, I can gain more love, I can gain more peace, more compassion, more harmony. If I just dig this up and let it go. Dig it up and let it go. Let God let go. Again. And again and again. If we're really tuned into our lives and tuned into spirit and doing our spiritual work, then we're weeding all the time. But we're not daunted by it anymore. We just weed. We're working, we're doing our thing. You weed, pluck it up, throw it out. Weed, pluck it up, throw it out. Keep moving. Keep gardening. Keep planting seeds that are good. Keep enjoying the harvest. Enjoying the beauty that we're creating and growing in our lives. And the weeds just kind of disappear. And we get to enjoy, we get to have that rich life that Francis Folks was talking about in that reading. We get to have that peace, that joy, the abundance that is always there, that the divine is trying to push into our lives, into the physical realm for us. But we have to make room for it. We have to make room for spirit to work. And that's how we open up. That's why we go into prayer and meditation, so that we stay open and aware and receptive to what's coming towards us, not putting up doors, not choking out the good. I love how she articulates that the divine is trying to push something good into your life, into my life, all the time. We just have to make room for it. We've got to open our arms widely enough. You have to be quiet enough to hear that there's a gift waiting for you, that there's something here. Pay attention to that. Let that go so I can give you something better. The good that you've wanted this thing, this weed, this pattern you have is in the way. Pluck it up and get it out so I can push this through to you. They say the world, the universe abhors a vacuum. We got to get it out. That's why we have that power of release and renunciation. Get that stuff out of there so that you create a vacuum and all the goodness can rush in. We've got to weed all the time. We've got to release all the time. When you're in that practice, it's not a big deal anymore. It's just what you do. It's part of your spiritual practice. Just keep working. Don't curse it. It's all for our good. It's all so that the good can be pushed into your life and overflow into your experience in a way that you could not imagine. I don't know if I've probably said 1,000 times in this room that whenever spirit shows up for me and something manifests in my life, it's always 1,000 times better than I imagined. Always, always. I'm always floored. And I have this reaction, this response to it, to the manifestation in a way that you would think that I'd never experienced manifestation before. I'm always, always floored. I always have this moment where all I have is a sigh. Oh, yeah. That's how spirit shows up. If we're willing to do the work, if we're willing to open the doors, if we're willing to break down the barriers to our good. That's all she's talking about, Frances Folks, in that reading about the Christ life. Just keep walking forward, knowing that every step that you take is holy ground, knowing that you are one with Spirit, that you are one with the Father, and that this divine energy is you at work. And you have only to harness that to have all this goodness overflow into your existence, into your experience, to govern your world. So when Nancy was reading, she was saying, abundance is God at ease. At ease. What would your lives be like if they were governed by ease? You know, the office supply store has that easy button commercial. What if you had nothing but easy buttons around you all the time? You could just walk around hitting them, smacking them. They're up there, they're on the side, they're on the floor. You step on an easy button. Another easy button. Oh my gosh, another easy button. Gonna hit that. This is easy. That's easy. Nothing to wail and moan about, nothing to curse about. Nothing to grit your teeth about, nothing to white knuckle. Even the stuff that appears big. If we truly know Spirit, if we truly are spending time with Spirit, we know that there's nothing, absolutely nothing in this physical realm that is bigger, more powerful than God. Nothing. I don't care what the world tells you. I don't care what comes up in your life. There's nothing bigger than God. Nothing, nothing, nothing is bigger than God. Everything you can, some people say, give it to God, release it to God. Know it as smaller as a small thing. I told you at some point in my health journey, I stopped referring to cancer as big C, and it was little c. As long as I kept thinking about big C, then I could succumb to that. And I would have to fight for something. And so at some point I just said, all right, you are little c. Because I got something for you. And that thing is Spirit. That thing is the divine. The thing is God. And if I stick with this God thing and I release my Godness on that thing, I'm going to kick its. I'm going to kick its butt. And so you can look at everything that way. No matter what comes up, situation, in relationship, at work, whatever you're doing, whatever, in whatever environment, your personal life, whatever, friendship, partnership, spouse, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, God can handle it. You, in your divine authority, can handle it. You got to know that you have that authority. You got to know that you can speak on that very thing and say, you're a no thing in my life. I have something for you. I have something for you. And know that, and sit with that, and be in meditation about that. Affirm that in your life, and release all the other stuff. Release what you thought was its power over you. Say that out loud if you need to, a statement of renunciation. And move forward and affirm goodness. And affirm whatever it is you want to call it. Life, love, abundance. Whatever you care to call it. We get to choose. Probably, I think now, one of our greatest powers is to choose what we want in our experience of this world. We may not be able to always control what comes at us, but we can control what we do with it. We can control what we think about it. We can control what we do about it, no matter what it is, because it is ours and it's before us. So we get to choose what it is. I know what the world calls it. I know what I'm going to call it. World calls it big C. I don't know what a big C is. All I know is I got a little c to deal with. And you stay on that course. You stay in your lane. Stay in the lane of divine authority. And reckon with whatever's there. Often for me, all there is to do is to realize that God is in and through and as everything. And that takes care of the issue for me. Then it is a no thing. Then it's a no thing. And then you just get to celebrate life. Celebrate goodness. Wake up in the morning celebrating life. Another day. Another opportunity to be love in the world. Another opportunity to experience the goodness and the glory that is God in your life and as you. And bless not only your life, but the lives of everybody that you come into contact with. To bless the lives of everybody that you pray for, think about. Every situation in the world that you consider you can bless with your consciousness. Let's take this in a meditation. So we're still releasing and renouncing this month as we move towards the energy that is the word that we've chosen for the year. And if you don't have a word, there may be something that's kind of obvious in your life right now. Some kind of word that's been in your mind. Focus on that here in this moment. And see that word, that energy as a garden, a beautiful garden. And bring your focus a little deeper. What weeds might there be in that garden that you need to pluck up and out so they don't choke out all the beauty that exists there? What's still there that you've been wrestling with, you've been trying to let go of, but it hasn't quite worked yet? So I invite you to ask yourself now, have I brought my divine authority? Have I brought spirit? Have I let God in on this so that I can let go of it? What is it we need to shed? What weeds have popped up in our lives? Maybe not so deep, maybe some that are really deep, maybe some that have been in our lives for decades, for years, for months. How many things have you looked at and said, oh, that's just my life? But you wish it wasn't there. You're not quite sure how to go at it. And so I invite you now to let God into this situation. To open your arms wide. To shift your perspective from my work to the work of the divine. Knowing in your heart that there is absolutely nothing in this physical realm that can outdo the divine. God, the divine, the all-good, is omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, bigger, more powerful than whatever it is you're dealing with. So just take a breath here and now, deeply. Breathing in God, breathing out God. Releasing the power that you've given this particular situation. Shrink it in your imagination, in your consciousness. And know that it is done. All we need is the faith of a mustard seed. And we say the mountain shall move, that mountain will indeed move. By divine power. That's what we call blessed assurance. So let's be in the quiet for a couple of minutes so you can hear your soul speak. So here in this moment, we know and affirm that like Jesus the Christ, our brother and way shower, we know that we are one with the Father, one with the divine, the same force that created the heavens and the earth. This beautiful planet, the cosmos, every star, every galaxy, the beauty of nature, the magnificence of these physical bodies through which we travel this physical realm. We are one with that same spirit. And so we say yes and thank you for all good things. We say yes and thank you for life and love, for choice, to choose our experience of life. And so it is, and so it shall be.